So you found it, the one, your dream home. You've scrolled through the pictures 100 times at least. You've driven past the property. You even get upset and angry when you see somebody standing in front of the property looking at it as if it's theirs. The audacity. Oh my gosh. But wait just a minute. Before your dream home becomes an absolute nightmare, and not just a nightmare, but a very expensive and time-consuming nightmare, let's make sure you're protected. If you are a buyer that is either in the process of buying a home or considering buying a home, this is the video for you. We are going to go through what to look for when getting a home inspection, how to protect yourself, and how to even negotiate based on the information that you receive during your inspections. Know your options, know when it's time to walk away, but most of all, know that you are in control of the purchase of your home. So let's get into it. I'm Shamika Fox. I've been successfully selling real estate in the Santa Cruz area for over 20 years. If you would like to dive deeper into the Santa Cruz real estate market, please feel free to reach out. If you are looking for a realtor in the area that you live, give me a call or fill out the form that's pinned in the comments below, and I will go ahead and connect you with a realtor in your area. First, it's mindset. Number one thing to think about when you are going into a home inspection is mindset. Now, just remember, there are no perfect homes. I have been on site with contractors, vendors, and inspectors on brand new permitted homes built from the ground up by licensed contractors, and there are always items that come up on the checklist as far as things that are not quite right, according to building code, according to health and safety. So just remember, when you are inspecting the property that you wish to purchase, first thing to remember is mindset. Is this a major problem or is this a minor problem? So don't get bogged down by things like chipped paint. Don't get annoyed or frustrated if the cabinet doorknob is not perfectly tightened. Don't get totally turned off if the switch plate is not perfectly level. Those are all minor things. The things that you really want to be paying attention and looking for are major components that could potentially cost you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix. We're talking foundation, we're talking roof, we're talking structural integrity of the property. So as we go through and explore this list of things to consider when you are doing your home inspection, please keep in mind what you would consider a deal breaker versus what you would consider that's something that needs to be dealt with and I want a credit for. So major issues versus minor issues. So let's dive into it. Here's the ultimate checklist that you should have and you should consider when you are inspecting a property. First and foremost, the exterior and the foundation. Believe it or not, your inspection starts at the curb. The outside of the house is already telling you a story. You just have to know how to read it. First, look at the very bottom of the house, the foundation. You're scanning it for cracks. Are there tiny hairline cracks? Are there major 1-inch cracks? Are there vertical cracks? Are there horizontal cracks? All of those different cracks tell a story. Now, I will tell you, I work with a concrete guy. He is a concrete and drainage vendor, and he is very professional, and he knows his job very well. And what he tells me is there's two types of concrete: the kind that cracks when it's setting and the kind that cracks when it's dry. So not all cracks are detrimental. You need to know what you're looking for. That's why it's really important that you trust the inspectors that you're hiring. Inspections will cost you money. Generally speaking, a home inspection for a home under about 2,000 square feet will run about $600, $625 in the area in which I live, Santa Cruz, California. Of course, that varies from place to place, but the area that I live in, Santa Cruz, it is approximately $625 for a home inspection. The other types of inspections that you will probably want to get prior to deciding if you're going to purchase this home or if you're going to be asking for credits is a pest inspection, a sewer lateral inspection, a roof inspection if the roof looks like it's a bit shabby, plumbing and electrical if those things come up in the home inspection. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's go backwards. So the first thing we're thinking about is foundation. The second thing to think about, and this is in line with foundation, is water. Water is public enemy number one to a house and its foundation. Do you notice that the gutters are bent and weeping and water is rushing over the top of them? Or are the gutters detached from the downspouts and they're just dumping water in the corner of your foundation? All of these may seem like minor issues that could actually cause detrimental issues. If the water continues to flow and it underpins the foundation, your foundation could potentially fail if this issue goes on for a long enough time. So it's very important, number one and number two things to consider as quote unquote possibly major issues with regards to when you are inspecting a home is drainage and foundation. Now, if your home inspector says that they would recommend getting a second opinion based on what they see when they inspect the drainage and the foundation, I would highly, highly recommend that you employ a drainage and foundation expert to come out and take a look. They can analyze the levelness of the floors. They'll take a look and see if there's any cracks in the walls. They'll crawl under the house. They'll look at the cracks in the foundation. They'll look at the drainage, and they should be able to tell you these are minor issues, these are major issues. Here is the approximate cost to take care of them. And if you still love the house and you don't mind taking care of these issues, then that's up to you, and you can use this little piece of information as leverage and renegotiate, and I'll dive into that in a minute. Drainage and foundation, pay attention. Those are two very, very important aspects of a home inspection when you're buying a home. Another very important aspect and a major component of a property is the roof. Now, you don't need to climb up on the roof. You don't need binoculars. Just take a couple steps back as long as you can get a good angle. Take a look at the roof. Are the shingles peeling up? Do they look like they're failing? Does it look like an old roof? Your home inspector will take a look at the roof, and if they think that the roof is in any way compromised or past its life expectancy, they will recommend that you bring in a roofing vendor. And I would highly recommend following that advice. Make sure you understand what the cost of replacing a roof is. Now, in California, having a roof that is acceptable not just to you but to your insurance agency is going to be a big ticket item. A lot of insurance companies won't insure properties if they don't have new roofs, or if their roof is failing, or if they have old shake shingle roofs. You can't get an insurance policy, or you have to get a fair plan policy, and those are quite expensive. So pay attention to the roof. And finally, before you go inside, you'll do a sweep around the property, take a look at decks, take a look at siding, take a look at anything that, any wood trim. These are items that will come up not only on your home inspection, but on your pest inspection as well. When you're walking on the deck, does it feel solid? Can you move the railing? Is the railing feeling like maybe it's rotted out somewhere? These items might seem like they're minor issues, but if you have a cantilevered deck, you need to actually have some pretty major heavy engineering to replace it. Also, decks are really expensive. The cost of wood to rebuild a deck could be $50,000 depending on the size of the deck. So before you go inside with your inspector, make sure that you are looking at components such as siding, trim, decking, anything along the property on the exterior that seems like it could be a potential major issue that's going to cost you a lot of money. Now we're going to jump inside. We're going to go to the core of the property. Let's talk about the core components of a property that should be functioning. And if it's not functioning, again, you can decide, one, if you want to purchase the property, two, if you want to request a credit based on core items that are not functioning, and three, if they are functioning but they are past their prime, talk to your agent about getting a 1-year home warranty policy. A lot of times these components are actually covered, such as your HVAC system. Maybe it's an old unit, but it is still working. Usually, depending on the policy, an old but functioning HVAC system will be covered in a home warranty. So talk to your agent about a home warranty policy. In addition to taking a look at the HVAC system, now of course some areas have air conditioning. It's not prevalent in Santa Cruz County, but some houses have it. So make sure that the HVAC and the AC units are functioning. Again, if they're old but functioning, put a home warranty in place and see if that is going to be acceptable to you. Otherwise, you can have an HVAC contractor come out, take a look, and tell you what they would expect as far as life expectancy and what the cost to upgrade that unit is once it fails. Another piece of very important information with regards to core components when you are inspecting your property is the electrical system. Now, in the early 1900s, they used a system called knob and tube. This system is no longer utilized because not only is it not efficient, but it is also quite risky with regards to fire. In fact, many insurance companies will not insure properties that have knob and tube wiring because they have a higher fire risk. So when you are inspecting your electrical systems, make sure you understand, does it have knob and tube? If it has all knob and tube, what will that cost to replace? And can you get insurance with knob and tube? The other thing to look at are the electrical panels. There are panels like Zinsco and Sylvana. They come up over and over again in home inspections as health and safety issues because those companies went out of business because the breakers were not tripping and several of the units actually started fires. So what type of an electrical panel do you have, as well as what type of wiring does your house have? Those are very important questions to ask the inspector. If they come up with knob and tube wiring, how much will it cost to upgrade the wiring to current code? And if it has an old Sylvania panel or Zinsco panel, how much will it cost to upgrade those panels to current code and with a company that is actually in existence because they make good products? The other core component to your house is the plumbing. Go around the house, turn on the faucets, flush the toilets. Is there leaking or running water? Are there leaks under the sinks, past or present? Are there leaks at the faucets? What about the hose bibs? If you are turning on these faucets, make sure to turn them off. Make sure you have permission to test them. That's very important. The California Residential Purchase Agreement says that you can inspect a property, but you cannot damage the property when you are inspecting it. So do make sure when you are at the property with your inspectors that you are inspecting it in such a way that is not damaging the property. But do make sure that the plumbing works. If the plumbing has issues, then bring in a plumbing contractor or plumbing vendor to inspect the property for you, give you an estimate on what it would cost to remediate or repair any of the issues that come up. Another thing on the subject of plumbing is in Santa Cruz, we have a sewer lateral ordinance. That means that your sewer lateral has to pass an inspection prior to the sale of the property. You can transfer that responsibility to a buyer. So buyers, you can take responsibility if that's going to help you get the property for the terms that you want, but you will have to take care of that upon close of escrow. And then if you are on septic, then make sure your septic tank is working and functioning and that you have an inspection for that as well. So those are really the major components of the property. The inspectors will, of course, inspect for other items like tipping brackets behind the stove and oven. Do you have smoke and CO detectors installed in the property? Is the water heater strapped appropriately? Are there any weird sagging issues with the floors? Do the windows open? Are they painted shut? Are there cracks in the wall? Are there stains from previous leaks? Things like that will come up that could indicate other issues. But if you've inspected the property and you've taken a look at the foundation, the drainage, the roof, and the core components of the interior of the property, as well as the additional little nuances that need to be taken a look at as well, I could say that that's going to be a pretty thorough inspection. So now let's say you get your inspection back. What do? Remember, this is your dream home. You don't want to just walk away, but you did find out in the inspection that you need a new roof. You did find out that there's knob and tube wiring and that you're going to need to rewire the whole house. Lucky for you, there is an alternative to walking away from this dream home property. You can at this point, and I have to preface it by saying, if you do not have contingencies in place, you can't, or it will be very difficult to renegotiate with the seller. But if you have your physical contingencies in place and you've just received information that gives you pause about your dream home and makes you want to request credit for repairs, you do have a couple options. Option number one is that you can request that the seller take care of those issues. You can ask the seller to replace the roof and to rewire the house prior to the close of escrow. I don't love this option because the seller is not required to do it any which way, and they can choose whoever they want as far as vendors, and you might not like the way it's done, but it's done, so now you have to accept it. I don't love that option, but it is an option. Ask the seller if they will repair or remediate the issues that you are not going to accept. Option number two is you can ask for a credit for the issues that you are not going to accept. Now that you've had your home inspection, you've had a roof inspection and an estimate of what it will cost to replace the roof, and you've had an electrical vendor come and look at the electrical system and give you a cost to upgrade the knob and tube and to change out the old Zinsco panel, you have your paperwork and you are ready to submit a request to the seller. Let's just say the new roof is $30,000, the upgraded electrical is $10,000, and the panel is another $7,000. That is $47,000. You can go to the seller and say, seller, will you please credit me $47,000? I need to take care of these issues upon the close of escrow. And now it's up to the seller whether they want to give you that credit. If you're asking for a credit, you can do it in two ways. You can ask a credit towards closing costs. And the second way is you can ask for a price reduction. The third option is if you absolutely decide that you are not buying this house because the knob and tube and the roof needs to be replaced and the electrical panel, and oh, by the way, the whole foundation has failed and you're going to have to lift the house up and it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you have contingencies in place, well, regardless, you can walk away as a buyer at any point in time. If you have contingencies in place and you walk away, then you can actually get your deposit back. The only out-of-pocket expenses are the expenses that you spent on the inspections to get the information. If you are going to ask for a credit towards closing costs, make sure that your closing costs are in the amount that you're asking. Most closing costs are not $47,000. So a lot of times I will get a breakdown. If my clients are purchasing a property with a loan, I will get a breakdown, a cost estimate, a buyer's closing cost estimate to see what approximately the closing costs will be. Oftentimes also the lender won't want to see more than 3% credit back towards the buyer from the seller. So make sure you talk to the lender and make sure that you understand what the closing costs are and what the lender will allow towards closing costs. And whatever the difference is, you can ask for in a credit towards reducing the purchase price. Or you can just ask for a complete reduction in purchase price. If you have the cash already on hand on reserves to be able to repair those issues, I actually like a reduction in purchase price because that means your property taxes are lower because they're based on the final sales price. So you're actually saving money that way. Longevity. Okay, I know I've covered a lot. I just don't want you to lose out on your dream home. I want you to be prepared and educated and ready to write an offer on a property that you love and even have the correct mindset to navigate successfully through the inspection process, because inspections can be daunting, they can be scary, but they should not be overwhelming and they should not make your final decision. So if you find your dream home and you go into the inspections, please remember you have options. It is not the end of the world if something comes up in the inspection. In fact, be ready and expecting that the inspection will have something that comes up. Be ready to know how to negotiate based on the information and be ready to know what your non-negotiables are. I hope this helps you successfully navigate the inspection process of buying a home. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Feel free to call me anytime. I love talking about real estate. I would love to connect with you. If you would like to buy or sell property in the Santa Cruz area, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to connect with you. If you would like to buy or sell property outside of the Santa Cruz area, fill out the form that's pinned in the comments below, and I will connect you with a wonderful realtor in your area. I hope you have found value in this video. Until next time.